Well, first of all, let's discuss and then think about risk in the context of our mercantile commercial operation of purchasing coffee, which is one of our normal activity. In this context, I would define risk as the unexpected or even expected change in the initial condition of a system or operation or a situation. So, for example, the change in the cost of some of the elements of the transaction, or, for example, the risk of weather changes that have an implication on the crop production and things like that. So, in a way, to make a very short definition, I would think about risk as uncertainty in practice. Well, there are many risks involved in a commercial mercantile operation of purchasing coffee. One is the country risk, normal situation when you have operation going on with other countries, especially in this case a country where the coffee is grown. A second very important group of risks are the quality risk. So the possible differences between what you bought, what you thought you bought, and what you will receive. So this is a very important risk because, of course, the quality of the raw material is one of the most important aspects for us in the transaction. A global risk of the transaction is what we call the performance risk. So the risk that the overall performance or the execution, the contract, will not be executed. And this is very interesting also in relation to the force majeure conditions, clauses of the contract and things like that. There are certain other group of risks, I would say the most easy one, which are connected with the logistic and the transport. And I say the easy one because you can insure. So of course you have a cost on one side, a sure cost, but you can cover a risk that something bad happened to your goods. So transportation risk is a fundamental one. And then we have the economic risk. I will come back maybe later. Many of these risks, as you ask, are indeed connected. One very interesting case is, for example, the link between the logistic risk or the logistic problem in this from this point of view and the quality. So take, for example, the case where you have maybe some holes, some quality issue in the equipment, in a container, for example, and this is creating a quality problem in the goods you transport. Of course, is a very important insurance matter, etc., but to manage the combination of these two risks is an interesting situation. There are many other cases where certain types of risks are connected one to the other one. For example, think about in terms of performance and the counter risk. Sometimes the performance is not possible because of the maybe change of regulation, change in the law, change in some condition that make the export of the goods more difficult, if not in some cases even impossible. We have to say, first of all, that not all the risks involved in a commercial transaction are coverable, or not all the risk you can actually do something to limit the possible impact and things like that. Having said that, there are many tools that you can use. For example, we already mentioned, for example, insurance is a tool to not necessarily to limit the risk, but to manage the consequences of the risk occurring. Another very important set of tools, more in the financial domain, in the financial area, are the hedging instruments that we normally use in order to protect the value of the goods and the changes in value of the goods. So a normal hedging operation means to operate in the future market, in buying and selling a future position in order to cover the risk of the variation of the value of the raw material, as in our case is coffee.